Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pet Prana's Tipsy Tuesdays, our opportunity where the third Tuesday of each month we're able to get together and talk about what's going on in the energy, what's going on with our pets. And this is a special one for February. February is the month of love, the month of very heart-centered relationships. And what more heart-centered relationship than the one that we have with our pets? They truly do know us through and through. They are the ones who tend to see us at our most vulnerable. They see us at our most joyful, and they're definitely able to elicit a whole range of emotions from us, like any intimate relationship, from, oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated, to, oh my gosh, I love you so much when I look into your eyes. So what a fun opportunity for us to get together. Just want to kind of check in a little more generally speaking in terms about trends that I've been noticing in pets this month. This month in particular, I've seen a lot of pet parents come to me about accidents. And accidents not with, young puppies or young pets. It's really accidents that are taking place across the board. And so one thing that the animals have been sharing with me is that the energies are incredibly powerful right now. There's a lot of processing. There's a lot of, whereas January felt like there was a little bit of a let up in the energy, February is kind of tying up any loose ends and tying them up almost in a bow so that when March comes, we can really hit the ground running. So I'm not sure if you guys have experienced it, if you felt it as well. I know that starting with that February 2nd portal, which was the 2222, with the 2020, energy was really intense. February 4th was another big one, and even this past weekend required a lot of rest, a lot of hydration. Also, February 16th, I believe it is, we started going into Mercury retrograde, which tends to be a time for a bit more introspection and tying up those energetic loose ends. And my understanding is that through the accidents, the animals are really helping us sort through that energy and supporting by creating a container and a loving environment for us and helping process any energy that's ready to go. So I wonder whether you guys have experienced the energy in a different way. I hope that everybody took time, at least in the United States, it's Valentine's Day, February 14th. I hope everybody took time to give their pups or their cats or their birds or rabbits or guinea pigs some extra cuddles and just really allow our relationship with them to expand our hearts and really remind us that we are kind of awesome. There's that old adage that, I want to be the person that my pet thinks I am or sees me as, and that's so true, because when we can see ourselves through our pet's eyes and remember that not only are we amazing pet parents and that we're opening our hearts and homes to, these sweet little souls, but we are special. Even sometimes if we forget our sparkle, they're there to remind us that, we're unique and we are just love incarnate. So with that being said, I want to open the phone lines for some Q&A. I know we had a couple come through, but I see some hands up. So *2 will raise your hand if you'd like it to interact live, and you can always type your question in to the question box under the Q&A. So let me just double check here. All right, I see a hand up, and I'm going to, let's see, it is phone ending in 430 in Phoenix, Arizona. Let me just find you and take you off mute. Hello, are you there?
Hi, Denise. It's Mary.
Mary, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I've got a little cough, and it's an allergy one, so it's not a biggie. But I love what you just said about the energies because mine's a kind of a different question, but I'm trying to understand my year-old puppy. She just turned a year, Stella Rose, and she went in heat that time because I want to keep her so she develops properly. And I was really trying to communicate with her what was going on, and I was wondering, how do the animals know what to do when their body changes? I mean, she did well, and I did a lot of research, and she didn't do a lot of the signs that I saw. online, of things that they could do. And I'm just wondering, maybe it was her first heat and she was kind of like, what is this? Because that's what I got from her.
Yes, absolutely. So the second you mentioned that, it was sort of like, what is going on? My body's doing things. I'm not necessarily in control of what my body is doing. Not that animals feel like they need to be in control of their bodies, but there's a rhythm and a familiarity that they rely on in nature, right? So, because that's a form of predictability. That's how they know if their body's running okay, if there's anything that they need to adjust or do differently. So there was a little bit of this, well, this feels foreign. What is this? And it's interesting because what she's kind of bringing back to also is, oh, interesting. Okay, I thought they were going to take it in one direction. They took it completely different. What she's kind of bringing up as a mirror for you is the, oh my gosh, this is different. What is this? Is a point in your childhood or early adolescence where you stopped being open to the energies and you kind of closed back down because, not to play childish games, and that's your imagination. You can't speak to animals in the natural world. And so you kind of like internalize that, and then you went to like go connect with something and you're like, oh, wait, this is different. I've kind of cut myself off a little bit. I've disconnected. So that's really quite interesting because for Stella also, the heat, think about women in the past having that cycle and, that natural occurrence in our body really helps us become more intuitive as well. So it's almost like a rite of passage into being connected with, the cycles of nature, the cycle of moon, now becoming a creative manifester. You can literally create life, and intuition just heightens from there. So it's almost like she's welcoming you back into that initiation of, what's coming to mind is sort of like the red tent, where women would get together and support each other and be intuitive and do, any routines or anything that's meaningful to them to heighten their intuition and honor it.
Wow. That was amazing because I also felt that my other two dogs didn't have a heat. I did the usual thing of, the vet says don't let them go into heat, so fix them before so. So they never experienced that, and they weren't even really smelling her. Like, and I know they're females, but, she just, she was the only one. It wasn't like they could even relate to her and say, well, this is what it is because I experienced it.
Yeah.
But she was just on her own. But what you said about opening up to the energies, oh, my God, that was so great for you. Thank you, because you're right on me and shutting down and stuff. And, of course, with all what you said is going on with the energies and a lot of the things I have personally been doing with opening the energies and opening our power, ourself more and more, and I know they all feel it.
Yes, absolutely. And they're kind of your little circle of the divine feminine supporting you in it as well, which is so cool.
Well, they're so great because I can totally appreciate them. I can actually sit down now and just sit and enjoy the moment of having them next to me and hugging them instead of feeling like you have to be off, do it, running, go do this. Take the time when they're lying next to you to really enjoy them. And I know they're like coming right there and let's have this space. So it is so beautiful.
I love that. And that's such a good reminder. I have two little co-pilots hanging with me today, and there's nothing better than waking up in the morning when you're not quite out of bed yet, but the dogs are near you, and it's just a big cuddle pile. It's just the best way to start a day or end a day or spend any time of the day, really, right?
Right. And what I've noticed, even it seems like since she did go through that heat, and she started right at a year, it's like she did mature more. She would have to get up not real early in the morning, but she would have to go out before the other two, like when daylight came, and then she'd come back in and she'd settle right in. Now she's like, why do I even want to get up? I'll just stay here till go out and just be part of it.
It's the slow down and enjoying with each other. Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that with us and sharing her wisdom and the rites of passage that we all experience. It's such a beautiful reminder, because sometimes the physical body and stuff that happens to it can be a pain in the butt. but it's nice to remember that there's
Mm-hmm.
something really cool that goes on behind it and that it's symbolic of something bigger. So thank you for that reminder.
Oh, thank you very much. I love it. I love what you do. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Big, big hugs to you. I'm going to put you back on mute, but it was so nice chatting with you.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's see. So we have a few other hands up here. I see that there is a hand up ending in 571 in Dayton, Ohio. So just 1 second. I'm going to take you off mute. Hello, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, who do we have on the line?
Hi, my name's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
And
So nice hearing from you.
yeah, I had a reading with you last March, I think.
Oh, awesome. So cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you're able to join for a Tipsy Tuesday.
Me too.
So what's been going on with you? How's the energy? How are things coming up for you? How can we help?
Okay, well, I just had a question about my cat, Felix.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, he'll be 2 in May. And when we got him, he likes to bite and play with your feet.
Mhm.
And he's gotten way better, but he still wants to do it. Usually at like 5 in the morning. So he doesn't seem to be deterred either. Like I've tried spraying water, I've tried to talk to him and say, "Come on, I try to play, do different things." I just wondered if there's some kind of message there that I'm not getting.
And is it kind of ubiquitous? Is it both feet, all feet, your feet, whoever's feet he can find, or is it a specific person?
It's only me. He used to do it with my husband, but my husband kind of was a little bit, just firm, very firm.
Okay, so let me fill into it because there were a couple things they were showing me that were really interesting. So let me just take a breath, and I'm going to ask you to take a breath too.
Okay.
So it's really quite interesting because he's showing me like almost like a movie compilation where things kind of like flash really quick, all these different things. He's showing me a couple things. One being, what's it called? The journey of San Compostelo or something. It's those pilgrimages that people used to do from south to Spain, I believe it is, or the opposite or something like that, from France to Spain. He's showing me that kind of like pilgrimage and that journey, and he brought me to like that European region in particular. He's also showing me a little bit of like walking on coals. Like apparently in your past lives, a lot of things happen to your feet is what he's showing. Like you use them and okay, so let me see what he wants me to say. So he wants you, basically what he's saying is he wants you to take steps. He wants you to like keep walking that journey. Like you are a person, he's showing, that like needs to be in motion. You need to go on those pilgrimages. You need to go and walk the hot coals to get from point A to point B. Walking and motion is one of the ways that you activate your awareness, and it kind of builds your intuitive muscle, if you will. There's like this, see, I can do it. There's something very much about like setting these goals and meeting them and active. What he's saying is if you try to meditate and you try just sitting, it's just not going to be as productive. Things seem to be like swirling around you, whereas if you walk, you're in flow with the information, the insights, the downloads. So he's really kind of encouraging you to keep that motion, that walking, that forward motion.
Okay.
It also has to do with when you walk, you're able to tap into more grounded energy, because the first thing he had said also originally was grounding, kind of getting you back grounded, because there's a tendency to kind of be in your head a little bit is what he's showing. So I'm asking Felix, like, why 5 in the morning? Like, could we do it at a different time or not at all? Like, if we get the message? And it's interesting because he's showing a time change. Like, Felix seems to have been with you in a past life in Europe. So like when you were going on those pilgrimages, he was with you, walking alongside you. He shows me that you also would like put him in like your bag that you were carrying, and you'd carry him part of the way, then he'd walk alongside you. So that 5 a.m, a little bit, he was telling me is a, oh, how do you say that in English? The time difference, a jet lag. It's a jet lag for him. And I know that cats typically do a lot of early morning stuff, but he just shows himself on European time, which is super interesting.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting because I tapped into that we had a past life together in France, and that's just crazy. That's so fun.
That is amazing. And so that's a beautiful testament to your intuition as well, that you were able to tap into that, and you know, and that you believed it. And then this was a nice little thing that he set up for us to have this conversation, so you can be like, oh my gosh, that's right. So I love that. So also make sure that you get yourself, like if you're looking for some self-care, pampering, or clearing, your feet are really kind of the key to everything is what he's showing. So if you even do like a little salt bath soak in like a little just like a big bowl or something like at night that you can put, you know, some pretty rose petals in or something, but like some salt in there, like Epsom salt, to like soak your feet. That's the way that you clear out impurities and energy, is through the soles of your feet.
Oh, wow.
So if you're looking to like pamper yourself, go get a pedicure. Like, yeah, it's all about the feet for you, which is interesting.
Wow. Interesting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I just love this story, and I just love how our animal companions bring us all sorts of interesting tidbits in really unique ways.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Lisa, it's so nice connecting with you. I'm so glad that you joined today, and just keep us posted on how things are going with Felix. Hopefully now that you got the message a little bit, he'll cut you some slack and let you sleep in a little bit.
Okay. All right.
All right, much love to you. All right, I'm going to put you back on mute. Let's see, and we have a hand up, and we have, this looks like it's Miss Belinda. 1 second, let me take you off mute. Are you there?
Hi.
Hello, how are you, and where are you these days?
I know, I missed you. I haven't connected with you for a week or so.
Oh my goodness. Are you in Miami? Are you in Colorado? Are you in California? It's always so exciting. It's like, where's Waldo?
I'm glad. I know you think it's exciting. No, it is. You know, I'm in Miami, and I have a lot of gratitude for being here, and I get to connect with and I just want to send everybody some love with the crocodiles and the manatee, and so it's just a joy to be able to go to the garden every day and hang out with, you know, whatever, birds and, you know, just in nature, you know, as opposed to being in snow, which is really beautiful too.
From a distance, right? From the safety of your own home with like hot chocolate or coffee and and a nice warm blanket. Oh my goodness. So what's been up in the energy for you?
Well, I just wanted to connect with Izzy. I've been house sitting this amazing cat and this amazing dog. My friend's got a puppy and the cat, so they've been super fun. But I really wanted to connect with Izzy and Blue. I've never been away this long from them, and I got really sad. I think it was last week or so, and it doesn't last really long, and it doesn't feel reasonable for me to go and try to get my dogs from my sister-in-law and bring them to Miami. You know what I mean? Yeah. At least not right now, because I don't know. You know, I don't know how long I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
So just want to check in and see what they're doing, and then I had a little question about my path. But I wanted to say I really loved what you shared with the last woman. I forgot her name already. I'm sorry, but it was just, it really resonated with me about moving. I know that about myself. Like I get guidance when I'm moving, not as much when I'm sitting still. I mean, I can, but it's a lot easier. And the salt and the feet. I don't know if she's a Pisces, but I'm a Pisces, and Pisces have really delicate little feet.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. And okay, so that's really cool. I love that you said that because I'm just going to come through with what they're saying. So I'm going to answer your question in a roundabout way. It was really neat that because when you were talking about the animals you were connecting with, manatee jumped out at me and was like, boom, and it reminded me that manatee sailors used to think they were mermaids. And so then as you talk about the feet and the delicate feet, I think of mermaids, you know, like think of the story of the Little Mermaid who came onto land and she had to learn how to use her feet. So it's actually really interesting because what Izzy and Blue were showing me is this isn't the right word, but you were feeling sad last week because what you were sensing was a little bit of a disconnection to them. And so it's not that they don't love you, they're not connected with you, they'll always be in your heart, but they're giving you space because what they're saying is you need to move on to that next phase. You need to kind of keep moving now and decide. So it's kind of interesting that there's like a new puppy in your life that's, you know, surrounding you and, you know, cats and stuff. It's time to really figure out what that new phase is and stop looking to connect with the past and move towards that future. So it's really like you're getting your sea legs about the next step. The other thing also is you're still in between timelines they're showing. So as you're trying to find your footing, it's a little awkward because it's like walking on sand rather than hard concrete. You know, you need to use your knees a little bit to balance, and it's not even footing is what they're showing. But until you're able to kind of disconnect from the past a little bit more, kind of create that separation a little bit, it's hard for you to be open to the new.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. No, I get it. And is there anything specific that is coming up to be released?
Mm-hmm. So it's about relationships, which is interesting because what Izzy and Blue are showing me is like by disconnecting a little bit from them now, what's going to happen is everyone's going to be able to leapfrog and they're going to take an alternate route and meet you up front, kind of like along the next path of the journey. But you guys aren't going to walk alongside this together. So it's really, it feels like it's about relationships, friendships, professional connections, who you thought you might be. It's kind of like letting go of the should-haves, could-haves, thought I was gonna's, that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And I could see that if I stayed here and was supporting my mom and dad more, that it might be challenging. God bless them, but they're doing fine. You know what I mean? So that's been interesting. So, but I could see that because I had a little, you know, event today that I was like, okay, this is a path too, right?
Exactly. That's the thing. You're kind of at that point, and there's paths, and it's, you know, make sure that whatever path you decide to go on with momentum as you're getting these sea legs are not being held down by like what you think you ought to do or, you know, where you thought you'd be at this point in your life or any of that kind of chains is what they're showing.
Yeah. Yes. No, I get it. It's super clear. And thank you, Izzy and Blue. And I did have a question and I just forgot it in there. It was about something about not releasing. Oh, the timelines. I mean, I feel like, I have been meeting tons of new people here in Miami, and they've been really supportive. And one of them has a healing center. And so this is kind of the prayer that I've had for a long time to come in with community, like your community, but in a real place. So it's kind of interesting because I've met these people and I'm really connected with two of them in particular. But again, I don't know if Miami is the place. So I guess the question is, and I'm sure everybody on the call has versions of this, is like you're surrendering and you're trying to ground into something new too, all at the same time. And like you said, if, you know, all these timelines are shifting, not just for me, but for everybody, for the planet, it is where do you know, it's being patient and waiting for clarity. But do you see the challenge?
So what they're saying is, yes, perfect. And I'm so glad you brought this up. So what they're saying is waiting for clarity isn't going to help you. What's going to help you is taking steps. So if you like these people and it feels good, go partner with them, go attend their events, whatever it might be, because your relationship and conversations and dialogue with them might open the doors to somewhere across the country for you or in Miami. We don't know. So it's kind of what they're showing is the thing they've been using a lot for me lately, which is interesting, is moss can't grow on a rolling stone. What happens is when we stop and we wait for clarity, then we feel stuck. And then the more we feel stuck, the less we feel like we have our sea legs or that we have the muscles to like propel us forward. So really the signs and the clarity is if this feels light and you feel connected, go with it. Do one-offs. It's about not looking to make decisions for the rest of your life in the moment. Go moment to moment, taking little steps, and next thing you know, you're going to look back and be like, whoa, I've come a really long way, and this is now what I'm going to do. But I'm doing it because I followed my joy and not because I planned it out and thought this is the way it needs to happen.
And that's so perfect, and thank you for that, and that's why I had to get on this call, because, you kind of imagine it's all going to land in your lap, like this huge invitation of like, go here, do this, and blah, 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 and it's all going to roll out like this, and these two in particular are super aligned, like two souls that I'm closer aligned with than in years with anybody. So it is super magical. And I am just doing things with them because I can. Like they asked me to come over yesterday and read their chart, and I did,
Awesome.
And then they're organizing a workshop so I can do that,
Good.
So, so I am doing whatever they want to do because it's fun and it you know what I mean? And it's easy.
And remember that it's not a sum zero game. So if you find yourself in a position where you're like, you know what, maybe I do stay here and I work with them for a bit longer or, for the next few years or whatever it might be, don't feel that means that you're automatically having to do things for your parents because you're there, right? So like there's an in-between as well. Because part of it, there's a little bit of this apprehension of, I love this and things are flowing, but if I stay here doing things that I love, I still have this on the other side that I have to contend with. Whereas if I'm far away, that's my excuse. So remember that distance is not going to be what's going to help you with boundary setting. That's just like kind of creating a wall, not creating healthy boundaries.
Yes. Thank you for that, because that, it's like, you need somebody else. Even though I understand it, it's good for somebody else to share it, reflect it back at you. Thank you. And just managing it the best I can in the healthiest way possible for myself, and I'm on, that's perfect. And the last thing is I've been really connecting to Metatron, but I was wondering if there is any other guides that might be aligned at this moment.
So it's really interesting because they're showing you in community, which is beautiful because you're finding your tribe. So, going back to Manatee, the mermaids, the water fairies and water nymphs, and then also the land fairies as well in those crystal hives. So it's about going back to your roots of those beautiful, flowy, flying, free, like that's the energy that's coming through for you, the free and wild, yet in community and connected aspect of the mermaids or the water nymphs and the fairies.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. And, the garden that I do go to has a butterfly place. And it was so funny yesterday, or I didn't have time to go there. And I'm like, and my body's just like, go to the butterflies, and then I went and I always have a blast. But it is just important for me to connect with those butterflies,
Yes, absolutely. And moving, get out of the house, go out, like the weather's allows for it. So get out in nature. That's your sanctuary.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for the clarity, and thank you for Izzy and Blue. I really appreciate it. It really does help.
Oh my gosh, help. Sending you so much love, and those are things that are going to help everyone on this call. I know it's helped me a lot too. So thank you for always bringing up such important topics for us to remember and be like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's nice to hear it over and over and over and over again, at least for me.
Okay, Angel, thank you so much.
So much
and I'll
love
talk to you soon.
Sounds good. All right. see. We have another hand up on the phone, and it looks like it is Miss Kelly in Wisconsin. Just 1 second. All right, are you there?
Denise, yes. Can you hear me?
Hello, Miss Kelly. How are you?
I am doing so very well. I didn't realize today was Tipsy Tuesdays, so this is a big surprise and a lovely one. and I love that you were talking about the potty stuff. So this is so interesting because I get a lot of clients that have animals that are pottying in the house.
Yeah.
And having accidents, and even some are spurred maybe by events, but I had one just a week ago that I felt the woman, it's a 7-month-old Yorkie by the name of Willow, and she's had him about 5 months, and I got the impression that maybe he was in an environment where he didn't know how to potty properly, meaning he was going in his kennel and stepping in the feces and all that kind of stuff, and she's so frustrated, and I almost got like puppy mill kind of a vibe off of that. But what she's going to work on doing is setting up some bells on the door and teaching him how to let her know when he has to go out. So, we might have a path there. But I'm wondering if you're getting anything about Willow.
Yeah, so part of what's going on with Willow is he's so sensitive. Like, it's actually the perfect name, whoever gave it to him, whether it's the client or he came with that name, because they're bringing forth some sort of, like, random fact, which I don't even know if it's accurate or not, but something like willow trees themselves are incredibly sensitive trees. Like, if you cut off, like, a little portion of it, like, it puts the entire tree in danger. So whether that's true or not, or I'm misremembering the fact, there's some sensitivity and delicate nature to Willow, which also translates to the dog. What I'm sensing also with the potty issues, I'm getting it's also a little bit of like, I was never properly taught. I was left to fend for myself in terms of potty, and this is what we do. But there's also a lot of anxiety around it. So he's picking up on her frustration around it, and it's making him anxious, and he's just losing control of his bowels.
Yeah.
It's not happening on purpose. It's not like, oh, this is where I should go potty. It's just a lack of control over the bowels and the emotions and a little bit of that frustration seeping in that just kind of runs through him. So what I would also work on or advise that the woman work on with him, which you might already have done, is finding collaborative commands that they can do together that are really easy, or games, like a look and a touch, teaching something fun like roll over, something that helps them bond, reach a common goal, and helps build his confidence, because his confidence levels are a little low.
Okay.
The bell thing might be great, but that might be a few steps ahead, because he's still showing a little bit of fear around her. Like, she feels like a strict principal when you were an elementary school teacher.
Yes, and she's having her own frustrations in her own personal life, and so there's some mirroring going on there.
Yeah, it's like everybody needs a softening. Willow's soft, so he can bring that to her. She just needs a softening around the heart and kind of bringing it down and playing with him a little more, like, playing like Montessori in schools, like where you're learning while you play, but she just needs to come down on his level and soften a little bit so that he feels safe. Yeah.
Oh, that's helpful. Thank you so much. And I thought it was so interesting with you guys talking about this whole movement thing and moss not collecting on a stone. Because I have so I'm talking about me personally now, where I'm just taking a lot of action to move things forward for me and my business and what I love to do. And so I was wondering if there's any feedback from my pack in whatever way they want to come through today regarding.
Yeah, they're just showing me, especially with your career, like you're right on the path. Like, this is what you need to be doing. You're taking action. You're getting these clients, and then you're thinking about it both, from a logical standpoint, but also energetically you tap in. So they say you are right on track with this, and that it feels a lot, I was going to say it's like, slow but steady. They're like, no, it's actually momentum's gaining.
Yes, and it's the people I'm really it's the symbiotic resonance now, where clients before could have been just a one-off kind of session. Now these people are just feeling really engaged and coming to all my events, and then they're asking for readings and in-home visits. I mean, I'm just thrilled.
That's
just
amazing.
So much fun. So much fun.
Yeah. And you know, that's the thing. You start bridging a little bit of the traditional training and then the energetic, and it's you know, like a lot of people used to say to me, you know, like, wow, you're like my dog trainer but also my life coach, you know, and so you're gonna have that. This is what you do. This is who you are. This is what you believe. This is how you operate. So people are really feeling resonant with the authenticity in you, because you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk as well.
Yeah, and a couple other things real quick for you, Denise. So I had this really strange email that came through regarding my website and my web builder. So I called them to see if it was legit, and they said yes. And as I'm talking to this person, they said that I'm on this old platform. So now I'm upgrading and rebuilding my whole website.
Nice.
I'm so excited about it, because it's going to give me a lot more functionality, and I can really put who I am now into it.
Yeah.
And so things are just really falling into place.
I love that. What a perfect invitation from the universe to be like, okay, it's time.
I know.
I love that. That's so fantastic. Well, keep us posted so we can check it out when it's ready for prime time.
I will. Good. Thank you so much, Denise.
Oh, thank you so much. Love to you, and thank you for doing what you're doing with the people and their animals, and just kind of speaking out on behalf of the animals and the energy that affects them. You are such an asset to all the pet parents out there who are going to be lucky enough to work with you.
Oh, thank you. So much love to you.
Right back at you. I'm going to put you on mute. And let's see, we have another hand up, and I believe this might be Miss Mary Beth. Are you there?
Hi, Denise.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's so nice to be on Tipsy Tuesday call.
Yay. So glad to have you. How's energy up there in Buffalo?
It's good. We've had an easy winter, so everybody's really grateful for that. Really grateful.
Oh, that's good to hear. Oh my gosh. Well, it's lovely to hear your voice. How are you in Cricket? What's going on in the energy for you guys?
We've been pretty good. Cricket, actually, it's funny. Cricket had an accident a couple weeks ago, but that kind of. Oh, she just gave me a dirty look. I don't think she wanted me to mention that on the call.
That's so funny. All right, earmuffs, rewind. We didn't hear the thing. Yeah.
Well, but it just led to a couple things I took care of with her that just seemed like the right thing to do. So, so I'm happy for that. And I've been enjoying the energy. I guess I've just been enjoying the energy. I don't know what else to say about it.
Well, one thing that they're saying about that is they are just kind of holding you in this like beautiful pink purple energy of self-love. So what they're saying is there was a scenario where you could have been like, oh man, you know, I'm really missing that special person or da-da-da, but because you've been doing so much work of like introspection and like loving yourself and really like appreciating yourself, you feel whole and complete. And they really want that to be something that is drawn to your attention, because it's a beautiful state of being, and this is where you create that container where you can accept and receive love from yourself, from others, from the universe in terms of information and just feeling of connection. But they're saying that divine feminine energy of like self-love, self-acceptance, and if you remember healing with chakras, kind of that empress energy is really emanating from you, which is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Well, I have done a lot of healing, and my grandma, and I didn't even fully realize it, but I started working with you about a year ago, and you had encouraged me to find a picture of me and my grandma's garden. And when I found it, I knew which picture I wanted, but Grandma was actually in the picture, and I didn't remember that. And she came through really strongly for me in February. I was doing some healing on an issue that I didn't know where it kind of came from, and I think it came from her. And it was kind of an amazing experience because I got validation from an astrological reading who was a medium. My grandma came through, and I had just pulled the three of swords, which is a heart pierced with three swords. First I pulled the ancestor card, then I pulled that card, and I told the reader, I said, yeah, my grandma came through this morning, and then she goes, oh, she wants to come through, and she's saying, she was pinned down, and that's why she had the troubles that she had, but because I was afraid that I was going to have the same troubles, and I said, but you don't, you're in a different place and all this. And then the reader said to me, do you have one of her pins? And I looked at the heart with the three swords, and I said, oh my goodness, I have one pin that's a heart with a sword in it from her. Wow. So it was and so I've just been so appreciative of the energy of that grandma that's been with me. And I didn't realize how it was building over this past year. So thank you for connecting me with my grandma.
Well, that's just such a beautiful story, and it's such a reminder that we're so connected with our lineage, especially as women. Going back to almost, Mary, who we were speaking to in the beginning about that lineage and women kind of holding this container for each other so we can open up and blossom and become, in a safe space, the most intuitive versions of ourselves. And it's really, we do so when we're surrounded by that divine feminine energy. And so grandmas are such a blessing in that way, whether or not they showed up, the way we would have liked them to in, life or 3D reality. In the energy, we're doing so much on their behalf, like you did with the healing for issues around her, but they're kind of holding this circle of space and divine feminine energy and love. And oh my gosh, just such beautiful, soft energy around you. So beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. And I recently decided not to go to Hawaii. I had this trip planned, and it feels so good to decide not to go.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is interesting. And what's coming through, and it's interesting that you say that because I was going to ask about the trip if you didn't bring it up. It wasn't the right guide. As lovely as the course seemed to be, it just wasn't the right guide. So you might find yourself going to Hawaii at another place and time with a different kind of group. But it's a validation that, yes, you listened to yourself. You weren't like, but I told people, or, I committed to it. Like, really good listening on you to be like, yeah, this doesn't feel right at this moment.
Thank you for that validation, because that was a big question for me about the guide. So thank you for that validation.
Absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't a match, an energetic match. Yeah. And it was going to cause a lot of confusion and upheaval and questioning. And so I'm glad that you listen to your heart and your instinct and your gut.
Yeah. What about so there's a Costa Rica trip that's a astrology workshop.
So right now it's going to be really important. So Costa Rica feels more, if I were to describe it, Hawaii felt more like a teenage girl's energy, whereas Costa Rica feels a bit more wise, a little more seasoned female energy, which is nice. So that feels kind of more in line with what you're doing. It's really about questioning the group. Costa Rica feels better than Hawaii at the moment, but feel into who's going to be leading that workshop, because the big watch out is the distraction. The distraction of the ego, the distraction of the chemistry, and the physical. So make sure that whoever feels leading it feels very welcoming, warm. There'll be no you're not feeling any intrigue.
That is incredible because that has been my hesitation exactly because I don't think that's it either.
Yeah. Because that's the old version. That's the old attraction. It's like that's the familiar. So make sure that you're in a different spot right now. You don't need to go through that cycle again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Oh my gosh, so much love to you and Cricket, and it's always so nice to hear your voice, and I'm glad you guys are having a good winter up in Buffalo.
Thank you, and I loved all the calls so far, and I was just going to say to Felix, Mom, go get some reflexology.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely. That's a great addition to it. Oh my gosh, so much love to you, Mary Beth. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Denise. Take care. I love you.
Bye. Too. Bye. All right. Let's see. We have some questions in the Q&A we want to make sure that we get to. Okay, so Miss Roberta says, now that Max has joined the family with his free-spirited, happy ways, and Bliss is so happy that Peaches is gone and is finally correcting Max in a normal way, I think she may be even starting to be entertained by him to either have a message that wants to come through. So, Roberta, I love that, and I love that you're picking up on that, because part of what was going on with, like, Bliss and Peaches was just they were just not what's the thing? They were rubbing each other the wrong way, more so Bliss. And the thing is, Bliss really likes to be the leading lady, right? So Bliss is very much into, and this is something that as a society we're kind of dissolving a little bit, but Bliss likes gender roles. She likes traditional gender roles. She likes to be the older female who's correcting, and she likes it when the young masculine energy listens and follows suit and heeds her advice or her corrections, I guess is better. So this fit feels a lot better for her dynamic and the family. And I would say, check out and see where else maybe you have some qualities also that are Bliss-like in, really kind of feeling comfortable in traditional gender roles and wanting that younger masculine energy to listen to you. It might have some implications with you and your son. So kind of go into that dynamic and see what it brings up for you, because there is a little bit of a mirroring. But it does feel like Max is someone that Bliss is a lot more comfortable in. She didn't like to, the way she's saying it's like, it was three old broads, it was Roberta, it was me, it was Peaches, like, come on. There's no give and take to that. There's no yin and yang in that. So it seems like Max is going to be an addition to the family that she will be more excited about and will benefit everyone, and you'll have more harmony, more of that yin and that yang energy. Kind of the numbers are more even as she's showing it, you and Bliss, your son and Max. So look at some of the reflections in that relationship and how it might pertain to you. But, oh, my goodness, he's so cute. Thank you for sharing the pictures of him. All right, so we got a message from Andy in New York. Hi, Denise, my sweet pup, Wally. Oh, I love Wally. He is so sweet. Has had a change in behavior that began about a month ago. He used to wake me up every morning for his walks. He no longer does this and shows no desire to get up and go for his morning walk. Sometimes he has waited as long as 13 hours for his prior evening walk until the following morning. Additionally, he started licking his paws, leg, and chest and body nearly constantly. This began about the same time as his not waking me up. He has been to the vet and all tests came back negative. I was between jobs for about 6 weeks and thought maybe this was a behavior adjustment due to me being home all the time and he wasn't seeing his dog walker daily. Any thoughts or guidance would be greatly appreciated. Oh, Angie, thank you for writing in. And Wally is just such a sweet little energy. So let me just kind of tune into him. I'm glad that you went to the vet and got things checked out, because I always recommend doing that, in addition to looking into what's going on energetically. So Wally's showing me a couple of things. One, that he is kind of processing the energy, a little bit about what we talked about in the beginning of this call, just like, there's a lot of things that are falling off, loose ends, so like the energy sense does seem to be a little intense as we're doing this, so that's his way of self-soothing. He is also showing another couple physical things that you might consider. His shampoo, I don't know if they change shampoo at the groomers or you've been using a different shampoo or something like that. We may want to go something less fragrant or something more for sensitive skin. That feels to be part of it, but it's really more of the energetic. And what he feels is a little bit, and he loves you and he's happy, so don't feel like, oh my gosh, but he's feeling a little despondent in the energy, like more of the same old energy. Like there was a time where things might have changed or take another turn, but we kind of like took a step back and went into the same old. So I don't know if maybe your career, you were considering like a different career choice, and then, given everything and all the considerations, you went back into something that maybe you're not as passionate about, but it's a little bit of that. So check his shampoo, but the licking also feels like a little bit of like kind of sorting through the energy, kicking off, it's almost like the same way that they shake off, water. He's kind of like licking off some of the energetic stuff, but he's just feeling a little bit or reflecting a little bit of that like bummed, like there was a shot and a chance that things were going to change and they kind of went back to the same old. So if there's any changes you were considering in your life, any relationships you were considering, any kind of new ways of being or interacting in the world, that's a little bit of what he wants you to look at and re-examine. And interestingly, I don't know if you and Wally are up to this, but there's something about children. He wants to be around children more. So I don't know if there's like a program. I believe in New York City in Bidewee, they had a program where like children could come and read to dogs. And if your dog was well behaved, you could be a candidate for that. But there's something that he wants to do involving children. He just wants to change things up a little bit, which is interesting. So keep me posted. Let me know if this makes sense and if it resonates, and maybe we can go a little deeper. But there's definitely something a change that he would like to see. Beautiful. Miss Bonnie, she says, hello, Denise. Hugs from Zeus and I. Lots of rest and processing on our end as well. Quiet bodies with much happening inside. If you're picking up on anything, we'd love to hear it. Oh, dearest Bonnie, I think what you're talking about with you and Zeus really is quite a theme for so many. It's, still and restful on the outside, but so many changes and energies and things processing on the inside, which makes us even more tired. It's the still rivers run deep is kind of what's coming through. So let me check in a little deeper. So right now what they're showing is salmon coming through to you and the determination and the swimming upstream. So what they're showing is you're still doing that swimming upstream. So it feels in the energy like there's a little bit of this, okay, come on, just a little farther, we got to keep going. And what they're saying is it's so beautiful because there's no turning back. Salmon having their instincts to get up to that side of the stream. There's never a thought of, let me go back, or you know what, this is too hard, I'm going to float back with the river and go back to where I started. So it's really this beautiful validation that there's no turning back for you guys, and there's no aspect of yourself or Zeus that wants to turn back. So it's this beautiful celebration of you guys are really committed and you've gone through this together, and you continue going through this together through good times, through hard times, and together you will reach a point where you transform, transmute, and change into even bigger energy. They're bringing back that story how I believe it was in Japan, they thought koi fish, when they swam to the top of the river, they turned into water dragons. So they're really showing how beautiful it is that you two are side by side, and that there's never, no matter what's going on in the energy, there's no thought of let's just let go and go back to where we started and take 10 steps back. So thank you for that, and I think that really helps and serves as a beautiful validation for everyone else in this group who, no matter what, we're kind of moving through things and keeping it moving and just committed. I think that's really what's coming through is your commitment and the divine inspiration that comes with that commitment. So thank you, dearest Bonnie and Zeus. Okay, so here's from Miss Jane in Pennsylvania. Our beloved 17-and-a-half-year-old cat named Sunny Simon passed on January 21st. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know that's been tough, and let me check in. We're just holding you in our heart. There's actually a lot of folks on this call who recently have lost animal companions. So just know that we're all here for you, and we're all just holding you in our hearts. So let me check in here. So it's really interesting because Simon's bringing me back to Egyptian times, which is really interesting, and the story of Egyptian times where they go up the river and they have everything they need in the afterlife, and it's just kind of like picking up where they left off. But there's something really interesting for you with the Egyptian connotation, the hieroglyphs that he's showing me. So it seems that his signs to you will come through what look like hieroglyphs. So like through art, through visual things, that's where he's going to show you the strongest aspects of it. Also, he's showing me a lot of kind of really emerald green energy and kind of like Cleopatra energy, which is interesting. So it's really about going back to your past life. It feels like you guys might have had a past life together in Egypt. So go back to your knowledge and your understanding of Ra, the sun god, and also kind of what their versions or experience or stories were around when they would transition to the other side of the river, because I believe the river was the symbol for crossing over. Let me see what else he wants to say. And so it's really about coming full circle is what he's saying. So in this transition, he's actually bringing you back to life is what he's saying, which is really interesting. That repetitive of the 1-2 sequence when he transitioned, that January 21st and then it's 2020, that 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, it feels like code. It feels like a reprogramming. It feels like a reset for you, and it's so interesting. He's saying in his transition, he's actually bringing you back to life. So ask yourselves and ask Simon, ask to meditate with him and journey with him to understand what was the wisdom that he's trying to resurface in you about death and the cycles of life. That feels really rich for you right now. And he wants you to know he's very much with you on this journey. So it's interesting. He's not showing a separation. He's not telling me he's on the other side of the rainbow bridge playing and frolicking. He's very much alongside you, kind of holding your hand, and you guys are going to be going through this together. So he really has not gone anywhere. He's just changed forms, is what he's saying. Oh my goodness, I hope that helps. I know it's always so difficult when that happens. Let's see, we have a message from Catherine in Italy. She says, "Hi Denise, we had a session about a year ago, and while it's less frequent, my 11-year-old neutered indoor male cat Watson sometimes violently bites me out of the blue. I could be in another room when he comes seemingly with the intention of tasting human flesh. I've tried talking to him and his higher self, but haven't had much luck. And we always make time to play throughout the day. Can you tune in and see what's going on?" Absolutely, Catherine. Okay, so let me check in. Okay, so it's actually really interesting because when he comes, especially in that like coming out of the blue, it seems like he's just coming for you like a shark. It's about watching your thoughts. What are you thinking about? What are you doing in that moment? Because what he's showing me is it tends to be something to ground you back into reality, because your head's going into the like, oh my gosh, the what ifs, or oh my gosh, this was my fault, or oh my gosh, I sent that email and they didn't get back to me. Are they mad at me? Did something happen? It's typically when you're beating yourself up energetically that he comes and he gives you that bite. So it's like sort of like in the movies back in the day when they're like, you're being hysterical, they would slap them across the face to bring them back into reality. It was a little bit of that energy that he's showing. So what he wants you to do is, as you're going into your day, be a little more mindful and observant of your thought process. Where are places where you're letting your emotions or the what ifs or the like people pleasing aspects of yourself run off wild with your thoughts? Because that's when he's trying to bring you back. So instead of him biting you, be like, oh wait, this is a story I'm telling myself. The story I'm telling myself is that I didn't do enough for this person and now they're mad at me. and now I feel bad, and maybe I should go and I should do 10 more things for them to make up for it, because now I feel bad and I don't want them to not like me. And so kind of catch yourself, tell yourself, that's the story I'm telling myself, but now let me tell myself what truly happened. I sent an email, they were busy, they didn't get back to me. So it's about you kind of recoaching and reframing when your thoughts run wild with you. So keep me posted on how that goes. I hope that helps a little bit. So much love to you, and that's such a great reminder for all of us. Let's see. So we have an email from Celia in Romania, and she says, "Oh, my dear cat Diva passed away last year in June. Our connection is deep and magical. What is her message for me at this point?" So beautiful. Okay, so what's coming through, first of all, even though she passed away last year in June, I know it's still, not enough time passes ever in these situations. And I love that you say your connection is deep and magical, because what she was showing me as I was reading your message is you are the magic, you are the doer, you are the catalyst, where she is the heart and she's the one who's like, slow down, let's think about this. How do we feel about this? So it's quite a beautiful duo where you get excited, you have the momentum, you can make things happen, you see the magic in things, and she goes, that's wonderful, that's all kind of happening and swirling around you, but let's now go back into the heart and see, does this feel good to you? Is this something that resonates with you? Is this something that's going to expand your heart? So she's almost like the voice of reason, but the voice of your heart is what she's showing me. So continue using her in that way, because that's really her role, is to ground you back into the heart and kind of that old soul wisdom too. Like, hold on. Is this going to be something? Let's think about how this affects our heart. Does it open our heart? Does it expand our heart? Or is it something that we just want to do because we're excited about it, which is fine too. But she really always helps you bring it back to how does it affect your heart. So in that, it is absolutely a deep and magical connection. And it's funny because she almost shows me sort of like the angel on your shoulder as well. So just like those old cartoons where, there's a lot of different voices, she's the angel on your shoulder. And she's showing me on your left shoulder. I don't know if that's typically where the angel in the shows were, but she's showing me on your left shoulder. And she's quite beautiful, quite gentle, and just a lovely, lovely little guide that's going to be with you forever. She's very connected to you and attached to you. But it's funny because even though you parented her in this lifetime, she feels more like your mother. Like a motherly energy watching over you, or like an older sister who wants to make sure that you're thinking things through your heart. Oh my goodness, sending you so much love. And so we have one more question coming in. I know we're kind of running up against our time, but we have a message from Nicole. And she says, just one second, so sadly we had to make the hardest decision for our pack. Our boxer Lita was deteriorating fast, and Lita's now a puppy in heaven as of February 17th, 2020, and pain-free. My heart breaks. Our pack is grieving hard. Can you tell if she's okay? Is she pain-free? Is she upset with us? She was my best friend and companion for almost 10 years. We took her on a walk to one of her favorite places yesterday before she left. She was so strong for us, it broke my heart. I won't be able to be on the call, but if you can connect with her and let us know how she's doing. She took off on me on Thursday and went for a run on her own when I let her go out to potty. I had my 10-week-old baby in my arms and chased after her for almost a mile. She almost got hit on the busy streets, and luckily the police helped and brought us all home safely. I'm thinking it was her running free on our normal walking path, but also letting me know she was ready. It was scary watching her not listen and almost get hit, but also scary as my 10-week-old was in my arms in 40-degree weather. Sending so much love, even with my breaking heart. Oh my goodness, dearest Nicole, sending you so much love. And Okay. So it's really quite interesting because I was just drawn to the numerology of February 17th, 2020. And it's all about 5, right? So 4 plus 8 is 12, 13, 14, 1 plus 4 is 5. And so 5 is about new energies, new experiences, kind of, living through all the senses. And that mad dash of hers was kind of her, like, she mustered up her energy and she knew that it was time to go. So she wanted to give one last run and check things out and say, check in with everyone and just experience that wind in her hair. Because what happens is when she changes forward and she's no longer embodied, she doesn't have that experience of, her paws on the ground and wind in her hair. When we're in the energy, we lose. We're connected with it. So we don't have those senses anymore. So she's really bringing back the notion of those 5 senses that are so unique to the 3D human experience. She apologizes for worrying you and for, making it kind of difficult for you and the baby, but she just really appreciates it. And she actually wants you to perceive that mad dash as a remembrance of, look at how much she loved and experienced this planet, and look at how much she had left in her in that final run. So she wants you to kind of let that kind of expand your heart in that way and be like, wow, she really, really loved it. And that was her goodbye. Not many animal companions get that goodbye. Sometimes when they're deteriorating, they go from being indoors and under the bed or in their crates in those tight spaces, and then they go to the vet and, they get, the vet does their thing, or maybe the vet comes to the home, but she got that experience of the wind in her hair. And that's something that she's always going to value. So the timing was right. Don't question that. You guys made the right decision. It was time for her to leave her body, but she wanted to make sure that she had that one last hurrah kind of running through. So again, she says, I'm sorry if I worried you or if the baby was cold, but I wanted you to see the joy that I still could have in my body. And she wasn't listening because she was so in the moment, so connected. It was something that she did for her. If she had been thinking for you in that moment, she wouldn't have gone on the dash, and she would have listened and turned around and come back. That mad dash was for her. It was kind of her last hurrah. So she really thanks you for being okay with it. She says, as you're thinking about it and remembering it, now you see it in a different light. And that's what she wants you to know. She was born free. She had a wild heart. So that was really a beautiful thing that she was able to do. Oh my goodness, we're holding you in our heart with so much love. For everyone on our call who's lost pets, please know that you're not alone. With pets, we have such tremendous love for them, so it can be heartbreak when they leave, but I'm so in awe, and I love seeing how all of you on this call still feel that connection and know that it's not the end when they leave their bodies. So thank you for using that as an example of how our love for our animals and how their spirit lives on. That's the most beautiful testament that you can make. So I think we are a little bit over, but I think that's our questions for today. So as always, you can come back and listen to the replay. We've covered so much great stuff. So thank you for sharing, being vulnerable, and bringing up all these amazing topics that really help all of us in the soul path. We are connected, and these themes run deep for all of us. And it's such a blessing to be able to connect with everyone and have these chats. Keep us posted on, how things are going for you. And know that you can always come back and listen to the replay with the same web link that you used to access the call. If you guys have other people who you think might enjoy this, you can always share the web link with them and invite them to join us for, future Tipsy Tuesdays. And if you guys are on Instagram, follow me on @PetPrana, because we do the same forum for the first Friday of each month. We have a live Q&A via Instagram. I'm sending you all so much love, and thank you for taking time to be with us today and just sharing everything about what's going on in the energy and in the pets. So until next time, happy journeying.